Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Harbert, you mentioned in your testimony the Turk plant, which happens to be in my district, and I've had the opportunity to visit the Turk plant. I'm also an engineer and have designed many industrial facilities, and it's a very impressive plant. And I'll say this about all of manufacturing in the U.S. The facilities I've been involved with, they go to great extents to meet all permitting requirements. They're very conscientious about being good stewards of the environment. But when we see a plant like the Turk plant that's a super hypercritical coal facility, best technology in the world, if that plant can't meet emissions, that's simply saying that we're going to abandon coal as a fuel source if we can't use technology like at the Turk plant. And when we look across the renewable energy spectrum, which I've done projects in renewable energy as well, they're not nearly as economically competitive as traditional fuels. And we also see that they've got technical problems with peak demands and baseline loads. So I think my question is more of a questioning the overall premise of our energy policy and our effort to use more renewables. Wouldn't it make more sense, while traditional energy prices are low, to divert more research into renewables to make those technologies more efficient, so that as we make our traditional fuels more scarce in the future, our renewables become more economic and will provide a much better energy source for the future. So I know you work with the 21st Century Institute for 21st Century Energy. I would like to get your input, and maybe even Dr. Curry's input, on how we need to maybe rethink the premise of our whole energy policy and the way we address using renewables in the future.
I think two quick points. It is ironic that under the administration's proposal that we would be forced to close the Turk plant because it cannot meet the expectations of the proposal, and yet to highlight the disparity in obligations, China will continue to be able to build those plants, 54 new plants just like that one, and yet we can't build one here. You know, the idea should be, the idea under this administration's proposal is to make today's affordable energy more expensive. And what we should be focusing on is making a broad variety of energy more affordable, including alternatives like wind and solar, making them more competitive and let the market work. That's what's good for the American economy. That's what's good for the consumer. That's what's good for your constituents. But this is going to raise electricity prices in Arkansas. And particularly, if you look at Arkansas, you've got 61% of the households in Arkansas which are considered low-income households, which spend 20% of their income on energy. They're going to be hit the worst. We should be offering them more options, not fewer, more expensive options.
Dr. Curry, would you like to add to that?
I'll just make a comment about wind energy and solar energy, the great intermittence and the challenges of integrating wind and solar power into the grid. My company provides weather forecasts, and one of the things we do is predict wind power, and it's enormously variable. Ramps are very unpredictable, and you basically have to have a backup power supply already. And so you have to make, the day before, you have to make a commitment as to whether you're going to fire up the coal burner or the gas burner or whatever backup power source. And you just don't know. There's a great deal of uncertainty. And so it's very difficult to integrate into the grid, and it's not clear, because of the backup power sources and the extra power required to ramp up these burners, whether you're actually saving any CO2 emissions in this process. So we really need substantially better technologies if this is going to meaningfully reduce the CO2 emissions.
Yeah, when we talk about CO2 emissions, even some of the policies that come out of here seem to be counterproductive to reducing CO2 emissions, even with our forests that we fail to manage properly, that emit 70, 80, 90 million tons per year of carbon into the atmosphere because we haven't managed those forests correctly. So I think we just need to focus on the science and how to make all of our energy sources more economical for the future. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I think I'm out of time.